Time now to know what's on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers. With me in the studio is lawyer and social development advocate Jide Ologun and lawyer and public affairs analyst Tunji Abdulhamid. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us at this point.
You're welcome. Good morning.
All right, we'll start with Business Day. It says Nigeria's ambitious infrastructure rush frozen 10 months on. That's in Business Day this morning. The Daily Trust says here APC to decide on zoning June 2021 as NEC extends Buni-led committee tenure, grants waiver to Umahi, Dogara. We must respect our pre-merger agreements, as according to Buhari. State and local government ward escorts to serve as caretaker committees. Ex-national vice chair protest expulsion. PDP wants ruling party deregistered. The Blueprint says at emergency NEC meeting, APC sacks officials, nationwide extends Buni's tenure. The Vanguard says, end SARS protest. When in danger, use your arms, IGP tells policemen. Directive in order, says Ohanese. That's in the Vanguard newspaper this morning. IGP statement unfortunate, as according to Ayo Adebanjo, Benue tribal leaders, Middle Belt group kick. It's clear government has gone aloof. That's in the Vanguard this morning. This day newspaper says Buhari governors deepen grip on APC as NEC dissolves party's organs. Extends caretaker tenure by 6 months, expels former National Vice Chair Ita, urges President to shelve meeting with the National Assembly. Daily Sun says U.S. adds Nigeria to religious freedom blacklist. Federal government kicks. Move wake-up call, says Khan. NSCIA, no comments for now. The Nation newspaper says APC dissolves state local government ward escorts. Buni committee gets 6-month extension. Opposition party accused of mischief. That's in the Nation newspaper. The Punch newspaper says APC leadership tussle, expelled ex-NWC member declares self-chair. NEC extend Buni's tenure. I won't withdraw suit against interim committee ex-vice chairman. Ita vows. APC dissolves party structures. PDP demands ruling parties deregistration. The Guardian says new 162 naira petrol pump price triggers confusion, queries, concerns over transparency, regulatory roles. Marketers kick, deny knowledge of new price. The Nigerian News Direct says Buhari 36 governors in closed-door meeting over insecurity. That's in the Nigerian News Direct. The Leadership newspaper, fortified party structures ahead of 2023. APC dissolves organs. And, of course, extends Buni-led caretaker committee tenure by 6 months. National Economy says bad debts bill to track loan defaulters account passes second reading as Senate considers unified scheme for sound financial system. Daily Times, and, of course, the last but not the least newspaper, PDP mocks as APC dissolves structures, extends Buni's tenure. So we'll look at two major newspapers this morning. First of all, we'll talk about the new price of petrol. The Guardian newspaper says new 162 petrol pump price triggers confusion, queries, concerns over transparency, regulatory rules. Marketers kick, deny knowledge of new price. Barrister, okay, I have two lawyers with me here. What do you think about this story now? 162 naira pump price after its initial increase. The government reduced it by 5 naira yesterday.
You know, for many, it's a welcome development, and it's expected to take off on the 14th of December, and it will reduce the economic pressure on the people. But for many other Nigerians also, we are worried about the policy epilepsy that we are having in the country going back and forth. And for me, I've always focused on the fundamental issues. Why are we in this regulation and deregulation crisis? If the government has claimed that they are deregulating, then leave the market forces to determine how we buy the fuel, and somewhere along the line we may have the prices reduced drastically. But now, since the first one under this regime that took place in 2016, when it was increased from about 17 naira to 145 naira, with the promise that there will be structural developments in the upstream and downstream. There will be investment boost and things like that. And we looked forward to El Dorado. But here we are today. The story is worse. So what have we done with the oil and gas resources of this country? Why is it that we have failed to ensure that our 4 refineries are functioning and probably even have about 30 more modular refineries in the country so that we retain the wealth in the nation? And through that, we create jobs, we activate the economy, and stop Nigeria from becoming the capital of poverty. But here we are now. It's so painful that we have the prosperity potential, but we are unable to ignite it, to deliver prosperity to the people. And the people just keep, maneuvering within hardship. And don't forget that the dollar rate right now is about 500 naira. That is, stifling business activities. You talk about electricity tariff. So when is Nigeria going to enjoy the dividends of good governance, not even democracy now? And let's see how it unfolds from here.
All right.
Yeah, I think it is a confirmation that the government has not decided on what to do properly. Why am I saying that? Yeah, we have been told that the fixing of a petroleum price now is determined by market forces. As far as I'm concerned, this development of a 5% naira removal by the government show clearly that it was not market forces that determined our price here. I mean,
who determined the price?
The government. The government. Because the reduction was agreed at a meeting, not at the market, where the
market forces, with the practitioners in the oil sector.
That's not what they call market forces. Market forces is when I go to I buy a particular product, I will determine how and what amount that will benefit me.
Just like we had in the telecom.
Exactly. It's not anybody to have a meeting with me and decide or say, okay, how much do you think you can sell this product? So I have always said that, look, we don't have the regulation yet. Anybody that's telling us that we have been, petroleum has been regulated is just deceiving us. We're not doing the right thing as it is now. And the government is not showing effort to do the needful. What is the needful here? What will solve this problem is us having our own refineries working. If we don't have this, we'll still be moving from one.
Have our refineries working again.
It's just what government willingness to do it. Once we have the government that has a willingness to invest in it or to ensure that it works, then it will work.
Can the government handle?
The government is supporting Dangote that is doing its own.
Can the government handle having its own refineries? Why not have private sector handle the repairs and everything?
That's another angle to it. You can either do your own or allow people who are interested in it to invest in it and do and operate it. But if the government is not ready to do that, bearing in mind that they are thinking that is our only source of revenue for now, let's still control it, or we want to be part of it. We should, the one we have already, we should make sure it works. The government is the one supporting Dangote that's making it to be able to do his job very well. The one that we're waiting for. So I don't know why the government cannot, if an individual will be able to do a kind of a refinery, why is it impossible for the government to be able to do that? I think, like I said, it is a political will and the priority. Apparently, that is not the priority of our government. They are comfortable in us importing fuel, and that's why we are even entering agreement with the Niger Republic now and doing all sorts of things to ensure that what we encourage importation is what we are doing now. We're not even looking. I've not seen our policy towards ensuring that we are not even relying on people to import our fuel again. I don't see that, and that's what we should be doing now. We should be making effort either to have a government refinery or individuals, not only Dangote, because if you have only one Dangote, we are going to monopoly, and it may not be easy for us. You remember when we first started the telecom era, we have only one telecommunication company. Yeah. We were buying a SIM, 30,000 naira, 18,000 naira, whatever. Until when other people came, that was when it was due. So if you are giving it to only one person, we are still creating a kind of crisis. So we should allow different people who are interested in it, to come and invest in it, and ensure that when we have our own refinery here, all this issue will be a thing of the past. But I don't know. Maybe some people, apparently, some people are benefiting from our importing fuel abroad. And, and it's not good for us. Okay, so I don't see any. This is clear to me now that the market forces is not the one determining the price in this country, of fuel in this country.
All right, Barrister Jide, marketers kick, deny knowledge of new price. This confusion here and there. The marketers are saying they are not aware of the new price. So it means that Nigerians might not, from Monday, might not have opportunities to buy fuel at 162 naira per litre.
And I think that emphasizes his position of the undue interference from the government. And it's quite unfortunate, but you should expect that when there is an increase, the marketers don't complain, or they hardly complain.
When there's a reduction.
But when there is a reduction, they complain.
And most times the increase is immediate.
Yes, and they have their own cost too. It does not make economic sense for you to have raw materials, export them for refining, and bring them back at a cost, losing part of what you should even derive from the raw materials to the refining an advanced country. And you now bring it back to sell at a premium. And you even purchase with hard currency. And so I liken it to the case of, you know, Esau and Jacob in the Bible. Esau will go into the farm to either wound the animal or kill the animal. But Esau, Jacob, his younger brother, will rescue some of the animals, groom them. And when it was the day to get the blessing, Esau ran back into the farm as usual. But Jacob collaborated with the mother at home to get the blessing. So this is not a wise country, and I own my opinion. We have emphasized that the United States of America, for example, has about 130-something functional refineries. So how can we be wasting resources? Reportedly recently, we wasted billions of naira on refineries that are not functioning. So there are definitely some saboteurs who are benefiting. But we've read, you know, I was, even as far back as when I was in school, between 1977 and 1978, about $2.8 billion disappeared from the NNP's account, traced to Midland Bank in London. Until now, panel was set up, and till no head, no tail. And $2.8 billion was a huge amount to my young brain then. But today, you see Nigeria just allowing resources that should be engaged to deliver prosperity wasting away. But definitely, some are benefiting. But to anchor my position, I always say that we have not concretized our point of unity as a people. So we use the resources that should be a blessing as objects of manipulation to oppress one another economically. You see, because I can't just understand. I mean, we were discussing before coming here that the train service will be about 3,000 naira from Lagos to Ibadan. So in an economy that finds it difficult to pay 30,000 minimum wage. So if somebody works in Lagos and lives in Ibadan, and you must come to work,
3,000 every day.
Exactly. So 3,000 times 20.
No, that's not 3,000. That's 6,000.
You see,
you have to go back.
And that is just transportation.
That 3,000 is through and through. It's 6,000.
You see, so we need to balance all this and go back to the essence of God blessing nations with resources. It is to make life meaningful to the people. But I think Nigeria has failed in managing her resources maximally. And there is always a new curve that is possible if the will, like Barrister Labid mentioned, is there for us to now join the League of Prosperous Nations. The resources are still there. I know.
All right, we'll take a quick break and return to talk about this story in the Vanguard newspaper. Stay tuned.
Breakfast your day.
Every day.
Nestle. Nestle. Good food, good life. We congratulate you for progress on your journey. Now, Nigeria's #1 choice of mothers have Molfix Air Dry. Thanks to its ultra absorbency and breathability, Molfix has the dryness all the mothers dream of. So the babies will not experience any rash. Babies are always comfortable. Mothers are too, because they don't need to worry about ventilation. Thanks to Molfix Air Dry, now babies and mothers enjoy the ultimate peace. Come and join the mothers who experience Molfix Air Dry.
Join me, Precious Amayo, as I bring you news from the epicenter, where it happens and when it happens, staying on top of every breaking story, minute by minute, right at the hour where the city gets busy and just before it sleeps. We're live from every angle with objective insight and analysis. TVC News, first with breaking news.
You're welcome back. Of course, it's still TVC Breakfast, and we are looking at the headlines in the newspapers this morning. We'll move on to the Vanguard. It says here, NSAS protest, when in danger, use your arms. IGP tell police. Do we need the use of arms to disperse protesters? Of course, the IG had already given out a warning, and the commissioners were carrying out the warning. This week, there was supposed to be a protest by the NSAS movement, but somehow, it didn't hold. The police were at strategic positions.
But the IGP comment in this regard is not about dispersing protesters. He's talking about natural law. When you are in danger, you have the right to defend yourself. In other words, even in law, that's what we call what's it called? When you want to be attacked, you have self-defense. They call it self-defense. But I'm worried. I am worried that by this comment from our IGP.
Yes, because we know the mindset of some policemen.
Of course, because when you say when you are in danger, yes, like I said, naturally you can use your you protect yourself. But when you tell policemen that when they are in danger, they should. Well, how will you now know? How will you determine? How will you determine? Because it will not be whenever there's any accidental or whatever discharge. It will not be. I wanted to be attacked. They want to attack me.
Yeah. That
was why I have to do a self-defense or defend myself in line with your order. So in other words, it will be difficult for us to be able to ascertain when they are actually in danger, when they are not in danger, bearing in mind what we have been seeing before. Even as when they were not in danger, people have been shot by the police. At just minimal of being provoked. Yeah. So now that they have that order, that whenever you are being attacked, they will just be using that as an excuse to do whatever they want to do. But the question now is, when citizens have been provoked by the police, what do they do? Or when they have been attacked by the police, what would they do? I think I don't expect that IGP should be saying this publicly. This should be part of their normal training. In other words, they have been taught all this at the training that look, you have the right to defend yourself whenever you are in danger or whatever. I don't see why the IGP should be emphasizing this publicly, and in particular when we are having a crisis in the country at this level, particularly against the police. So I think it will not cause more crisis than what they want to prevent. I am afraid.
You know, for me, I think I'm impressed that the IGP came out to disclose the fear some of us had. I've had this sense of governance intimidation to make people keep quiet, because I was monitoring the peaceful NSAS protest, and at the point the president came out and said the government was not going to allow anarchy, I knew something was on the way. And you saw how the hoodlums got introduced by God knows who, and the violent element came in for the government to intervene. And we are still debating the Lekki massacre till now. So I think now that there was a suggestion that there may be a second wave of the NSAS protest, it was a matter of sending out signal to those who may want to convene the protest that, hey, we are telling the police, we may call it self-defense, but you see, we are stifling feedback. And in public relations, when you are considering communication, your communication is not complete until there is a feedback. So, and this is democracy. People should be free to express their concerns. So how far have we dealt with the concerns expressed? So if you focus on delivering on good governance, you may not even have to deal with protests to start with. Another scenario now is the proposed visit of the president to the House of Representatives. At the meeting held with the governors of the APC governors, I understand Governor Rufai had to, challenge the Speaker of the House of Reps. That why are you not in firm hold of the House of Reps and you allowing those there to ask for the president to come? So the president was there quiet. He's not going again. So you now see that the avenues of demanding accountability, of calling for responsible governance deliverables are now being stifled. And what happens is like when you pour water in a kettle that can whistle. When that kettle begins, the water begins to boil, the kettle will whistle. And you now use sellotape to tape the whistling vents. What happens? That kettle may eventually explode. Whether we like it or not, Nigeria deserves a better governance narrative. How do we achieve it? And by and large, the people are interested in helping the government succeed because whether we admit it or not, history is recording. For example, that under a regime, Nigeria became the capital of poverty. Under a regime, the meeting of the president and the governors, 36 governors, focus on the fact that the borders will be open soon because we have dealt with ammunition, smuggling of ammunition. So our 80% of our narratives now are on insecurity, banditry, kidnapping, raping, headsmen killing, Boko Haram. I mean, it's embarrassing. I want us to discuss positive things, and the government should be open to engage the people. Democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And if you don't listen to them now, someday you listen to them. So please, let's keep the channels open. Let people be able to express themselves. I'm worried. If I drive around Lagos now, you see how many persons that are demonstrating mental health issues. People will just be walking around the roads. So we need to do something urgently.
All right, of course, that's the much we can take at this point. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for talking to us on these issues. Thank you for lending your voices as well.
Thank you very much.
Bless Nigeria.